Hook swords are actually too good for soldiers historically. That's actually like where they come from, which is absolutely wild because soldiers back then could throw hands, but these guys are still too good for them. That's why they were never used by literally any military ever, according to history, which is dicey at best. So let's talk about it. What's up, guys? This is your own ninja wearing a red and superhero hat, and welcome to the Modern Ninja channel. And here's yet another weapon review, specifically going over one of my favorite weapons in existence, the Chinese hook swords. Now, I know how I started this video by saying they're too good, and literally what we know about their history, which is not a lot if I'm being honest, is that they were designed not for war. They were designed because a monk got too bored in his training and wanted a sword that could do everything. And so he made a sword that could do everything. Obviously, when you look at most swords, you see they're made for an offensive purpose, with the blade being most of the weapon, and you're using it to cut through things. It's great. However, hook swords are better. And that's only partly my opinion. Obviously, it has to have a hook and it has to have a sword. So all hook swords are going to be bladed in some way. Some have blades on the inside of the hook here. Some have blades on the outside of the hook here. Some have blades here. Some have blades on the back. But they're always going to be good swords that you can use to chop left and right. Because if it's going to be a sword, you got to be able to chop the bad guy with it. That's kind of in the name. And then obviously it's a hook sword, so it's going to come with that hook. This will allow you to be able to reach out, grab bad guys, pull them towards you, and use your other one to do more damage. This will allow you to redirect incoming spears that may be thrusting towards you, or if you're really smart and really good with it, you can use two, using one to hook into a shield, which was very commonly used, hooking into a shield or a looser piece of armor, pulling down, opening them up, and using your other one to unalive them, because they're sold in twos and there's a reason for it. And so automatically off the jump, a sword with the ability to grab things is crazy and incredibly useful, but it's also why it took so long for anyone to learn how to use them. Well, it's one of the reasons it took so long for so many people to use them, and that's actually the reason. I said reason a lot, oh my gosh. And that's, the cause of why they weren't used for soldiers, because it did take a long time. And if you're training a bunch of soldiers for war really quickly, then you don't have time to let them spend 20 years into the Chinese hook swords. You need to have them ready now, which is the reason they didn't really use this weapon, because if you don't have the training, it can be actually just devastating for the person. Because even though I did cover two, uses, it has more. Many swords have a handguard just like this, but not all of them have a bladed handguard and a hooked one to allow you to hook into things as it comes towards you, making it that much more damaging. So not only could you hook into someone's stomach area, unaliving them, obviously, but you could also just drill punches over and over and over, cutting them with every single strike you do. You don't even have to use the long sword part. You could just bang, punch them and you cut them, which is really cool to think about. And then on top of that, it often will have this back end here. For mine, it's spiked, but in some cases it's bladed, that you can use as kind of like the back of a kali stick, where you can use it to control your opponents. And I am forgetting the name of what that's called, the part of the kali stick that's underneath. If you can think of the name, I would love to hear it down in the comments below. And since you're in the comments, subscribe. But being able to use that back end to control your opponent is a huge advantage. This thing allows you to control them in so many ways. So with multiple, you can control them at a range and when you get close up. But that brings us to our last point, which is it has range. And again, I couldn't do this. If you're watching this video, you probably couldn't do this. But hook swords actually have a use when they're linked together. It allows you to get 5 extra feet of range when you're swinging at your opponent. So if you can't reach them or want to keep a group of people back, you hook them and then you have Hopefully I don't destroy my wall. But then you have a bladed, linked swords swinging at your opponents. And that is a terrifying thing to see. Now, can I do that right now? I mean, that's my roof. No, I couldn't. And do I personally have the training for it? Also, probably not. But it definitely has been done. And that's, again, why they were so good. Like, it's just a swordsman getting bored and wanting to do everything with his weapons. I love it. But that brings us to a very interesting topic on the effectiveness for self-defense. Now, I've talked about this before, but there's two kinds of self-defense: home defense and self-defense. Obviously, really, anything you can fit inside your home can be used as home defense. But self-defense has a little bit more criteria to it. And if you would like me to talk about that, let me know if I haven't done it already. But when we're talking about self-defense, obviously, you're going to have to be able to store it somewhere. And not everyone just carries straps for their hook swords. But with that aside, the biggest problem you're going to see is the difficulty level, because most people needing self-defense or home defense need to be able to use it well. And if you're not practicing, for years trying to use a hook sword, then just pulling one out could, like I said earlier, actually damage the user more than it damages the person attacking. And so if someone is trained in these swords, then yeah, they're some of the best self-defense weapons out there. If you can get a strap so you can, wield them fairly easily. And if you live in Texas, so that's illegal, then sure, I could give you a whole 9, maybe even 9.5 out of 10 as far as the self-defense rating, at least in my opinion. May that be as biased as it is. Realistically, for most people, and honestly, even including myself, this is not the go-to for self-defense unless you're really, really ready with them. And so that drops these down to a 4, and it really does pain me to do that. But it's true. They're really good, but really difficult. And so if you can't use them and they damage you trying to use them, you might as well use something else that won't hurt you in the process. But tell me, do you agree with me? Do you think they should be higher? Do you think I'm being biased and almost breaking my lighting system and should put them lower? Let me know down in the comments below. But for now, make sure, check out these awesome guys that are members of the channel, because they are amazing and help me do what I do all the time. And until next time, my name's DJ Moore. This is the Modern Ninja, and I'm out.
Be the Modern Ninja, but
Lift off.
just know I'm dangerous.
Baby. Perfect.
I'm on that Bruce Lee, flow like water, state of mind. Got me going farther than I ever thought I could have been. Gotta grab a sheet of paper, as you know I got the pen. Anybody want to smoke your whole career be looking grim. Out here flashing chains while your boy been in the gym. Watch me spitting flames while the frogs try to